our film's going to be set in a car park at night, so it'll be dark. So it will start off with a flashback of the main character's brother dying in the car park. It won't actually be like the whole scene of how he dies, it'll just be snippets. So it'll be like, I don't know how he's going to die, but him walking, and then it'll just be snippets of how he dies. And then it'll go back to modern day, and so it's the same place and the same time, and his brother's the main character in the car park, and it's like a usual day, and it's like a usual day, so he's about to get in the car and then go home.
So like when he gets in the car, we can have the camera facing, like if it's at the front of the car, like facing, like so you can see the back seat, and as he steps in, like ready to like drive off, whatever, you see a black figure appear from the back, like in the back seat, and it will like suffocate him, whatever. Then he might die.
In terms of the editing, just the usual things really. Production company which we've decided to call Bath Road Productions, and then our own names, and as regards to soundtrack, we haven't really thought about that, but something that creates suspense and enigma would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay. Inviting feedback, please.
I'm slightly confused about the storyline.
Same.
Well, basically, it goes like shows a clip from like a year ago, like 1 year earlier, and it's this guy's brother who dies in the car park, and it will go a year later, and it's the exact same place, exact same time, but it's his brother, and then he'll die as well.
I think you should have the like a point of view perspective of like him walking to the car and like the camera like going to the car, opening the door, getting in, and like switch the other way.
So the
you see him, and then you see the like.
It's like a first person view kind of.
Yeah, first person view. Going to the car, and then like you can switch to like third person, like of him.
Yeah.
Walking down the street. That would look cool.
Are the brothers going to die in the same way then, or what's going?
That's what we're thinking.
Is the
I
car
think that,
park
yeah.
establishing, or the connection that they're both? You've got two young men that die in the car park, brothers. I'm a bit confused myself as to how you're going to show that in 2 minutes.
Well, do we need to show that in 2 minutes though? Because that would be revealed in the rest of the film. What do we actually need to say?
So what would you show in your first 2 minutes then? Would you just show one person dying?
No, both.
Are there any more characters?
What?
Because that would mean you killed the main character in the.
I don't think you have enough time for that.
Well, not the main. Well, that's not the main character. That's the person who dies to begin with, and then it goes off to like his investigation type thing for the rest of the film.
Could make it like he actually like we don't know, but the guy could be on the outside of the car. Like as he gets in, you see a guy like with like a baseball bat, like about to smash the window, and then black.
You could, if you're having it like an investigating thing, then you can have it how, you know how like policemen, they like read the events that have happened like off a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
But you can have that in as the audio, and then you could show the action of it actually happening. So it could be like he got in the car at this time, and then it shows him actually getting in the car as he's saying it. So then you could be saying it as it's like a report, but they're showing it as the event.
Okay.
And instead of like first person, you could do more of like a CCTV thing, because then that shows that it's not actually about them, it's about the investigation instead, because then that's looking at them and what happened to them, and obviously the whatever he said over what's happening, and it will flip to a different CCTV of him like walking around and stuff like that.
On a practical note, do you have access to a car
Yeah.
and somebody that can drive it, or
Yeah.
and frame it so you can do all the inside framing? Have you thought about, you said about the car park at the very beginning that you wanted it to be at night time. You have to be really careful with nighttime filming. What you're going to have to watch out for really carefully.
Thin foxes.
besides boxing? Technically, I'm thinking. Lighting, because I tell you, I've seen quite a few thrillers over the years where there's like, you know, a very atmospheric nighttime shot, well, that's the intention, and what the audience ends up seeing, we're like squinting at a black screen, trying to work out what's going on. So that's like, you have to keep that fine line between it being kind of atmospheric and dark and it being just a black screen.
That's why like night vision would be so. Yeah, like a night vision on CCTV or something like that. That would make it as if, because then you would know it's like night time or someone's being abducted or killed or.
Can I just ask one last thing? If you've got 2 deaths in the opening 2 minutes, what's going to happen in the rest of the film?
Well, we were planning for some sort of a police investigation to follow, so that we would start off with the actual crime, and then the investigation would be like the main basis of the film.
How does that make it, how do you kind of create this sense of enigma and suspense for an audience then, if we already know that there's been 2 deaths? What stops it being a police or a crime drama film? Presumably establishing who the killer is.
Yeah, because something we forgot to mention is that the audience doesn't see who the murderer is, so that's meant to be part of the suspense element.
How about you make it that you don't, like, we don't see the body, so it kind of makes it kind of a mystery what happened to the person. So I don't know, it'll give you more to work on if we actually don't see what happens to the person.
Once we steps the car, he's dead.
No, like,
or that he might be kidnapped instead of killed, or because if we don't see the body, then we don't know what happened to it.
So if you just see like the figure appear and then it like goes to black, whatever.
The figure appear in the back of the car, and then that's it.
or like you could have a front shot, and you could have the guy, and then you could have like 2 hands coming towards his throat from the back seat, and then it works out. Something like that.
I think that you should show one of the killings, but his brother to be the detective. Does that make sense? So at the beginning you just show one of the killings, but then the whole film is about his brother trying to sort out who killed him, but then he eventually gets killed himself. So he's like, he's sorting out all this information, but then gets killed himself.
I think there's plenty of things to think about there. You've got some great ideas to start with. Just bear in mind, though, that 2 minutes, you're aiming to leave your audience desperate to keep on watching to find out what happens next, you know, and to actually have the suspense and the enigma there as well. So, and also what you can practically put into 2 minutes without it being, you know, your 2 key elements, like the 2 murders, what happens. Thank you very much. Well done.